Hello everyone, welcome to the Viking Code School information session. If you're here, you probably want to know what the heck we do and what the heck you can do to learn from it. So my name is Eric Trotman, I'm the founder of Viking Code School, and basically what we are is a school to learn web development online. And it's a school unlike any other out there in that we offer a series of programs that pretty much anyone who wants to become a developer and who's truly serious about it can use to take that journey forward, that you can take that step from essentially zero to job ready. So that starts with our prep work, which is free and available to anyone. It goes through either of our two tracks, where we have an immersive program and we have a flexible program. And then at the end, there's baked into the curriculum, there's all sorts of stuff around how to actually find a job, and then we provide support along the way as well. So my goal for today is to give you guys a chance to learn a little bit more about what it is that we do, how these programs work, how you can join the programs, and I guess what next steps are in terms of if you want to learn new information or learn how to get started. So what I'll do is I'm going to cover the immersive program. Then I'll talk about our flex program, and then I'll talk about the curriculum itself, and we'll sort of move into next steps after that. So the immersive program is one that we've run a number of different times so far. There's really nothing like it out there. It's a 16-week fully immersive web development fiesta. Basically, it's a boot camp style program that takes place over the course of 16 weeks with a 1-week break in the middle. You join a small cohort of typically between 12 and 20 other students who are going through at the same time and learning at the same incredibly aggressive pace, and you travel all the way through our curriculum during that. Every day you have a number of sessions with the entire group, and then you have the rest of your time you spend building, essentially. So it's you working directly with another of your classmates, a different classmate every day. You get to know your classmates quite well through this whole process, and essentially you are doing nothing but building and learning and building all day. And at the end of the day, you'll typically go in and continue doing some reading and learning ahead and getting ready for the next day's projects. So it is really the most intensive experience that you can imagine as far as learning, packing everything into the tightest possible time frame and getting you job ready. And not only that, that one thing in particular that makes this program unique is that we offer it for students who qualify, which means essentially that you have an unrestricted right to work in the U.S. and you're located in the U.S. That the program is offered on a deferred fee basis, and what that means is that you don't have to pay until you get a job. So we do have a course deposit, but if you don't end up getting a job within the window, which is 6 months after you graduate, then you actually get your deposit back as well. So if it doesn't work out, it's totally free. And if it does, we want to be right there alongside you, incentivized to do the best job that we possibly can to make sure that your learning experience is as high quality as possible and that you get the outcome you want. So that's a program because it's in a really aggressive pace. We run an application process for it, and so it's a very challenging program to get into. So I'll say right off the bat that there's a very high bar for admission. It doesn't mean that you can't start from zero, but you have to ramp up extremely quickly. And so we have public-facing prep work, which is designed to get you from that 0 point to the advanced beginner point. And then during the course of the application process, we'll test you with coding challenges and ultimately have an interview, or at least one interview, where you're going to go through and you're going to have to demonstrate that on a live basis that you can code and solve problems doing that. Once you're admitted to the program, there's a whole path of preparation that goes leading into the cohort to make sure everyone's ready. Like I said, we do the 16 weeks in the program. During the program, we'll do things like algorithms prep every day. And we'll finish the program out with a number of things around job readiness, job related stuff, and focusing really intensively on your job search in particular, because everyone's going to be in a different area, coming from a different background, and giving you the tools to make sure that you're going to be successful in that search. And beyond your graduation, we're working with you the whole time in our, via our career services system, and giving you a chance to put your best foot forward and sort of find your way into the job that you're actually looking for. As far as the Flex program, so the Flex program is a program that we've started in response to a lot of demand for the immersive program from students who can't actually quit their job or who are located internationally and want something that's an alternative. And so if that's not a good fit, if you can't put your life on hold or pull the ripcord and get out of your current position, we have the Flex program, which is designed to be a go at your own pace program. So what that means is you have the same exact curriculum as with the immersive program, but then you're able to sort of dial in the exact level of speed and support that you want as you go through that program. And so that means essentially that we offer 3 tiers, and it's paid month to month. So you can basically you go as long as or as fast as you're able to go through the program. That's all you have to pay for. And at any time, if you want to upgrade or downgrade your level of service, then you can actually do that as well. So it's designed to be super flexible, so that when your life needs that flexibility, so that you can still make the transition, even if you're only doing this nights and weekends, or if you're working, or if you're international and you wouldn't qualify for the deferred fee option. Excuse me, the deferred fee option in the immersive program. So basically, the way that the Flex program is structured is on the all students in the program. Everyone across Viking is a first-class citizen, and what that means is basically that you have access to everything that every other student has. You're part of our community. Everyone's interacting via the same channels and via the same tools. And so as a student in the Flex program, you're in our channels, able to chat live. You're able to attend live office hours with our instructional staff to ask questions and review code. You'll have access to our speaker series. You'll have access to also your peers along the way, and the entire community-driven aspect of that. So that's good for anyone who can devote any amount of time to the program as you go through. It really is designed to be basic and flexible, and just exactly what you need to kind of take this on with a level of support underneath you, so that when you do have questions, you can come in, you have someplace to ask them. For students who want to go through a little more aggressively, or who want to work with who really do want to work one-on-one with a developer, we offer the standard tier. And what that is it's the same. So, you have access to all the basic support resources, but we also hook you up every week with a professional developer who you're going to meet with one-on-one, and then you can get your code reviewed one-on-one every week with that person, and that person will also be able to provide you with a lot of context around what it's like to be a developer. We also allow you to trade those check-ins in for mock interviews. So there's a lot of things that you can do with that extends beyond the basic tier, and really allows you to kind of take that next step up into a professional transition into development. And then finally, we also offer an accelerated tier, which basically ramps up your level of check-ins, and allows you to have more check-ins, and also gives you greater access to our career services, and sort of more one-on-one time with our team, so that we can help you with your job search process. In terms of the curriculum itself, there's a lot of material to cover. There's no question. And one thing that I always want to be very clear about with the way that the program is structured is that it's not a one-size-fits-everyone program. This is a really intensive learning experience. It's a set of material that's literally, being a developer is about problem solving, and we're going to make you solve problems. You're going to learn a lot of different things. You're going to learn a lot of quality and quantity and depth, and these are all things that you really can't skimp on. We don't believe in copy-paste coding. We don't believe in hand-holding. What we believe in is challenging you aggressively, and then being there to support you when you need it. And as a developer, hopefully what you're saying is, thank God, finally someone's doing this. But if you're saying, wow, that sounds maybe a little bit too intense, there are plenty of other places out there that are able to cater to a different set of needs. For us, we're shooting for the moon. We want to make sure that you're ready to sit in a seat as a developer and be productive. And that's a high bar, and that's a bar that very few other programs are actually able to hit, and we've committed to doing so. But what that means is that it is a challenging program, and it's about 1,200 hours worth of total content. Obviously, that number is going to vary highly depending on how much time you devote to it each week, whether you're working with a mentor, what your prior technical background is, all sorts of other factors. But everyone always wants to know, and I mean, through experience, it takes roughly about 1,200 hours to go through. So as a student in the immersive program, in addition to having some time to prepare, it ends up being 16 weeks plus, call it 2 to 4 weeks. So between 18 and 20 weeks of really double time learning to get through that. And then as a flex student, if you're working less than that, you can imagine that gets sort of spread out a little bit more. So students in the flex program will typically take somewhere between 6 and 10 months to complete that. As far as what's covered in the curriculum, it's everything you need to be a full stack web developer. So that starts with the prep work. The prep work is free. The prep work is available at vikingcodeschool.com/prep. And we basically have 4 mini courses which provide you with all the background that you need to become ready to step into this. And what that means is, there's the usual context around what is the web, what does it do, things like that. And then we also have our final mini course is the actual nuts and bolts of coding HTML, coding CSS, and coding with Ruby. But the other 2 courses are also really important, and you never see this anywhere else. But there's a design course, which is essentially designed for developers. Like what do you as a developer need to know or care about when you're working on design, when you're putting together a site? What should you be thinking about, or at least know or understand about the way that pages are put together, about what visual hierarchy is, about how to work with designers, and sort of what are the things that are going through their head, so that you can feel comfortable actually starting to put things on a page and at least having a mental framework for beginning to do that. Our goal is obviously not to make you into a designer, but it is to give you 80-20 rule on a lot of important concepts along the way that typically you don't get if you're just diving directly into a coding focused program. The other one is engineering. And our goal and your goal is to become an engineer, not to just become a code monkey. And then there is a difference, and the difference is an engineer has context and solves problems and is able to operate within the larger context of like what are the larger problems that we're trying to solve, and then how do you fit into that, and how can you navigate your way towards that, not just build this and and do it. And in order to do that, you have to just understand what does it mean to be an engineer in an organization. So we talk about engineering process, we talk about agile development, we talk also about the process of breaking down problems and thinking like an engineer. Because again, it doesn't do a lot of good if you learn the tools to code, but you don't know how to apply them. And so having in all likelihood, you don't have the advantage of an engineering education. And you're probably wondering, like, what do they teach in these engineering programs that I wouldn't learn at a typical coding school? And one of those things is about engineering itself and what it means to be an engineer. And so that's part of the goal of that prep course. So anyways, our prep work is designed to give you this really broad and contextual understanding of what it means to be a developer and this kind of skills that you need going in the door, so that when you do start to learn how to code, you can be productive. The rest of the core curriculum is all about being productive with that code, and then making sure that you have the tools that you need to become employable with that code. And so that means our 2 languages, our core languages of choice, are Ruby and JavaScript. And so the first half of the course is going to be based on Ruby. We'll teach the fundamentals of object orientation. We'll teach testing. We'll teach data structures and algorithms, which also digs into some lower level languages. We'll teach the Sinatra framework. We'll teach you how to work with APIs, how to build your own APIs, how to scrape data off of websites, and then we'll get into databases. You'll learn about SQL. You'll learn how to work with Postgres and how to deploy to Heroku. And finally, you'll actually learn everything you need about to pick up Rails, and Ruby on Rails being one of the most productive web frameworks there is. And so we spend a lot of time working through that and get into some pretty advanced stuff around optimizing applications and working with delayed jobs and things like that. And so that's just the first half. That's just going through our Ruby portion. Then we take a reset and we get you into the front end, because our goal in the end of the day is to make you employable as either a back end developer or a front end developer, and that really means you are a full stack developer. And so we start over with JavaScript and we go deep, just like we did with Ruby, understand the nuts and bolts of the language, get you into jQuery, but far beyond this usual sort of like how to make things move on the page, but you're actually going to end up having to rebuild jQuery yourself, so you really understand what's going on. We talk about a lot of patterns for working with JavaScript, so it doesn't get all spaghetti code. And then we get into AngularJS. Angular is a robust and large JavaScript MV Star framework, and it's one of the most popular ones out there in terms of getting jobs, legacy code bases, and everything. And it gives you a really good springboard to learn any of these other million MV Star frameworks that come out every day, whether that's Ember or React or Meteor or Backbone or whatever it is, right? Once you have this set of patterns, it's quite easy to begin transitioning from one to another. And of course, not all of these are the same, but again, once you have a set of patterns, it's quite easy to move laterally. Yeah, the hardest thing is getting that first batch of knowledge. You already did that with Ruby, then it's much easier to get that second batch of knowledge to get up to speed on JavaScript, and then you start moving from frameworks to frameworks, and you find that your learning curves get shorter and shorter and shorter. So as we go through this, we're also doing a lot of career-related things. And actually, I'll talk about the career-related in just a sec, but the final thing as part of the curriculum is a final project. And this is something that we do that is different than anywhere else that I'm aware of, which is that no matter how you take the program, whether it's with your immersive cohort or whether it's individually as a flex student, the final project has to be paired up somehow. You have to be working with a team. And that's because part of the goal of the final project is to not just give you a chance to build something bigger and shinier and fancier and more impressive than anything that you've built before, but it's also to give you the experience of working on a team, because that's part of what they're hiring you to do in any engineering organization. And so having that experience gives you the kind of stories you can tell about going through that experience, that actually provides the confidence to an interviewer who's interviewing you, who wants to know, like, can this person work in a team? I mean, they haven't, if you've just learned on your own and you've done nothing but build your own sites, there's a pretty big gap between that and between being able to plug into a team and say, like, I understand the kind of processes that you're using. I understand a lot of the challenges on working on a team, and I'm ready to be a sponge and absorb, but I'm sort of already halfway up the learning curve. So that's the goal of those final projects, and then everyone demos their final project at the end to the broader community. So once we get done with the final projects, it's worth talking about the career services and just the way that that's interwoven throughout the curriculum. And so the heart of the job search is you. In the end of the day, no one's going to hand you anything. Anyone who says they're going to hand you something is not, you should take that with a pretty big grain of salt. The goal of what we're doing is to essentially teach you how to fish. It's to show you, this is the system that you're now a part of, likely coming from a non-traditional background, and you're having to fight with a broad range of different people for each one of these positions. And you have to stand out, and you have to get in there, and you have to get in the side door, not the front door. Your resume is going to be a doormat for everyone else to walk over. And how do you get through that process? And then once you've gotten noticed, how do you navigate the interview process, whether it's the phone screens or the technical interviews, or finally going through the end of the process, thinking about things like negotiating your offers, and ultimately getting your butt in a seat. So basically we cover everything, and it starts actually the day that you enroll. This is not something that just kind of gets tacked on at the end. It's interwoven all the way through the curriculum. Things that you can and should be doing, both to prepare yourself to understand the sort of the battle that you're about to sign up for, and then also how to actually get yourself out there, practicing with data structures and algorithms constantly. We have a library of different things that you should be doing and practicing with. And finally, us as humans, as a community, we can offer a lot in terms of being able to help advise you as you go through these processes with companies, whether it's questions about who should I send an email to, what should the email say, take a look at my resume, or more of the specific questions around, what do I do? I got this. I have this offer here and this offer here, and I don't know what to do. These are all things that we can and want to help with. And so, again, like our goal is to be your ally through that entire process, and that process really is central to the curriculum that we've put together. So I believe that actually covers everything that I intended to cover. If anyone does have a question, there are a couple places that you can go to offer and to ask. One of them is our email at hello@vikingcodeschool.com. You can always ask a question there. If you're curious about our prep work, it's vikingcodeschool.com/prep. If you're curious about our flex program, it's vikingcodeschool.com/flex. And finally, if you want to stay in touch, we have a newsletter that goes out every week, which is actually really helpful. It's a roundup of great content from around the web, and there's also things like music, and which you typically, especially new coders, don't always have like a good sense of what's good to listen to while you're coding. So that's something that we like to highlight, and a bunch of other useful things. And you can sign up for that right on the homepage, right at the top. There's a place to put your email address. So. Anyways, I really appreciate your time. Thank you. I hope you've learned a thing or two about what we do over here at Viking Code School. And again, if you have questions, hello@vikingcodeschool.com. Feel free to reach out, and I hope your learning journey is a good one. Cheers.